Yo, what's up, bros and broettes? So before, months ago, I told you that I thought that the water pump was leaking on my wife's car, which about 2 months ago I found out that it was, and I still haven't got around to replacing it. But finally I ordered the water pump. It came in about a week ago, and I'm gonna go ahead and install it. And I'm gonna show you guys how to install the water pump on the 2014 Ford Mustang with the V6. It's what, the 3.6 liter. And here's the water pump. It came in from Rock Auto. I ordered a Gates brand water pump. It cost me, it cost us a little over 50 bucks with shipping. So that's the gasket. It comes with the O-ring, this metal gasket with the rubber, around it, and then the water pump. Now I went with this one because I already have a 4-bolt one on there, so I can reuse the pulley, because the Ford brand, the Motorcraft, came with a 3-bolt one, and I didn't feel like spending that much, more money on something that I can reuse the pulley on. So, because the Watercraft one is a 3-bolt pulley, and so yeah. With that said, let's go ahead and get under the hood. All right, now that I got the hood up and everything, I have it partially parked outside the garage so I don't get coolant and stuff all over the ground. But all right, so this is what I'm working with. There's my water pump pulley right here. It has, looks to be it has four 10mm bolts from what it looks to be the size, and then it has, but first, before I take this off, I'm going to take off the upper hose, this hose right here, and the lower hose. So these hoses all go to the thermostat housing, which is this whole assembly piece, right? And what holds this on is 4 bolts. You got one right here. I don't know if you can see that. There's one right there. Right there. I'm putting my tip of my finger on it. Then one down here. And then you got one in there. It's right there. And then the other one is kind of underneath, behind. It's kind of, if you see where my finger is, it's straight back from where my fingertip is. So I'm moving my finger right to it. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, at this angle. But it's right there. So there's 4. Once you got the hoses off, those are 8mm, so you have 4 8mm. Take this assembly off, and then you can make sure to take a picture of your belt routing, and then you can use the there's a tensioner, which is this right here. This is your tensioner. You move that in, and then it releases the tension on the belt, and you can take the belt off, and then you can go from there. And then where is it? And then there's more 8mm bolts that hold the pump on, and you can take the pump off. But before you take the belt off, make sure to break the pulley bolts loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the coolant out and take them hoses off, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so I went ahead and took off the intake tube. It was literally 2 8mm clamp bolts, and just took that off. This hose was connected to it. You literally just push it. This was connected to it as well. You just push the gray thing, and you can pull right off. This is the vacuum line that went to it as well. You just pull it right off. Just get those out the way. Alright, so next it gives me more, to get this off. I'm just going to take off the hoses. I'm not going to drain the radiator because I want to keep as much coolant in the system as possible. I know it's not the right way to do it, but I don't care. This car actually does a really good job with bleeding the air itself, which I'm really surprised with. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and just take off these 4 clamps. So I got the lower radiator hose, the coolant supply hose from the overflow tank, this leader hose, and this upper radiator hose. So I'm gonna go ahead and take those 4 clamps off, and then I'll be back. Alright guys, so back out here. I got all the hoses off. I captured as much of the coolant as I could, but some of it stuck on the ground. I'll wash it out later. But this is what you'll look like. I have these 3 hoses kind of tucked up over here. Got this one tucked against this, and this resting against that, and then this bottom hose that goes on here, which is this one right here, you know, resting against this hose so it doesn't all flop back over. Then my bottom radiator hose I have kind of bent and tucked and pushed against the radiator and the air box piece right here, so it's out the way. Now I have access to my 4 bolts a lot easier. Again, 1, but you can see it better, 1, 2, and then there's, where is it? You got 3, and straight back right here is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and get those 4 bolts out, and then this assembly should come out. So I'm going to go ahead and take those out. Okay, so now at this point I have those 4 off. This should, yes, there we go. That comes off. Alright guys, so now I already broke these loose. But now this is actually, these are 10s. This tensioner pulley is a 15. So I'm going to go ahead and actually use an extension so I'm not so close to the pulley. See that? Belt comes right off. Remember the routing of this, it's actually pretty simple on this car, but some cars are more complicated. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of this off. Alright, pulley off. Set those to the side. Now, for the water pump, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, that's the 7 bolts. Now this should come, unless I missed one. This should come off. Alright, so I got it start peeling away here. Alright, so there's the old water pump. What brand is this? This is Ford Motor Company, which from what I've read online, these have a problem with failing pretty early. But I got a Gates new one, so let's go ahead and get this gasket off and get the new stuff on. Alright guys, so I got everything cleaned up, and everything's going to be ready to go back on here in a moment. So as you see, I mean, it's literally that easy. You literally just, oh, the O-ring that came with the kit goes right in here. That seals around this piece. So let's go ahead and just get this back on. I'm just going to go ahead and lightly tighten these down so I don't over tighten them, because this is aluminum, so I don't want to strip anything. Alright, make sure it is crucial not to over tighten those, because those can strip pretty easily, especially since these are aluminum. So next off is to get the pulley back on. So let's go ahead and get that on. Now that I got those on, I'm not going to be able to get those much tighter until I get the belt on, so let's go ahead and get that belt back on. Alright, belt on. Let's go ahead and tighten that down. Alright, time for the last piece of the puzzle to go, well, this part of the puzzle to go back on. Alright. And then let's get these screws in. Alright, that's back on. Now time to get the hoses back on. I'll start with the lower radiator hose. Go ahead and get that up there. There we go, everything's back on. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that these are, you know, nice and secure still. The pulley bolts. Yeah, they're good. Okay, last but not least, I'm gonna go ahead and get the mass airflow piping back on. Alright, and like I said before, this hose just clips right back on. And this hose goes right here. Just like that. Next, we're going to go ahead and put antifreeze back in here and then let it bleed itself. That, guys, is literally how you change the water pump on a 2014 Mustang with the V6 with the 3.6 liter. So hopefully guys, this showed you guys how to do it. It was hopefully I explained it well enough, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys liked this video and were debating whether to tackle this yourself, it is very easy to do yourself. So hopefully this video, you know, boosts your confidence, showing you that, you know, the water pump on this car is really easy. Just follow the methods that I showed you, the way I showed you to do it, and you'll have no problem at all. But with that said, guys, that's it for this video. I'm gonna go ahead and get some more coolant, get coolant back in it, and just let it run and bleed the air out of the system, and then we'll be good to go. Until next time, guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out, and never look back.